Welcome to my messy life. Take my hand and dive right on in with me. It's gonna be alright. Messy imperfect life with Leigh.
Welcome, Drake Stimson.
Thank you, Leigh.
My sister was married to a guy named Stimson.
Yeah. It's
but
different.
I haven't heard Stimson before.
Yeah, it's different. It was a bastard name.
What does that mean?
I think someone misspelled it.
Oh.
Yeah, long ago.
They just one time wrote it wrong and then they took that on?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Stimson is harder to say than Stimson.
Yeah, I always get a P in it, too.
I know.
Stimson.
As soon as I said I want to go P.
No, yeah, Stimson. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
The first time I was introduced to you was through, what was that darling girl's name?
Cynthia. Was it Cynthia?
Cynthia Jenkins.
Cynthia. Yeah.
So Drake Stimson, I'm not going to say your last name anymore.
Just say Drake.
Drake is the president, is that right? Or CEO? I don't know.
Yeah.
Both?
CEO.
You're a CEO?
Yeah.
Because when I Googled it, it said president. But I had a feeling you were the CEO.
Must have degraded me.
What happened?
I don't know.
So he's the CEO, and I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about MD Complete skincare, but this gal approached me some years ago and said, would you wear it? Would you do it and take a before and after picture? I said, yes. But I wasn't in the habit of really doing my routine.
Yeah.
So I took a picture before, and I looked messed up. And then I went to take it after, and I didn't really do it. And I looked the same, so I tried to put on a little makeup. And she was like, did you put makeup on? Because this has to be a clean thing. And I was like, yeah, I did. She's like, oh, great. Well, thank you. And I felt bad. But since then, I've been doing it every night, every morning.
Yeah.
And constantly people say to me, and I really mean this, once a day at least, someone says, you're glowing or your skin's amazing. And I usually say vodka and Botox. And then they said, no, not your wrinkles, your skin. And I go, oh my gosh. And I'm so happy to share MD Complete because it's affordable, which is so wonderful because I was like, I got 5 laser treatments and this and that. That's so sick. You know, I can't pass that on lovingly.
Yeah.
But to say I use a product that's affordable and you can use it too and probably get a discount because I'm going to ask
That's
for
right.
some
We did give you a
Oh,
discount.
you
but
did?
Yeah, sure. But your skin does look, I mean, as we talked, it looks really good.
Yes, thank you.
It does look, actually, it's extraordinary.
It really looks good. Yours does too. You're using it too?
Oh, yeah.
Because yours looks similar to mine, just smooth and clean. And
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm doing today's podcast with no makeup besides my dark circle concealer and mascara because my skin really looks good enough to not wear makeup.
Yeah, it does.
Although I will never not do that again. I mean, I'm going to wear it for every other podcast.
Oh, come on.
How'd you get involved with it, MD Complete?
Well, it actually does relate to one of my pebbles, but, you know, it started a number of years back. I was working for a large company, Procter Gamble, and had been asked to run their new business platform for women's health and beauty. And, you know, in that really began this arc of working in skincare now for, it's almost 20 years. And
wow.
Yeah. You know, I love the work. I love the technology. I love what we do. I don't love the industry so much.
Yeah.
But I like what we do.
That's what I like about you guys because the industry is so glamorized and photoshopped and everyone, you know, I get Botox and fillers, but the industry makes everything glossy and beautiful.
Yeah.
But the reality is you show nitty gritty before and after. As a matter of fact, Drake just showed me a picture of a woman's hands from this new product that they just came out with. I don't have on my readers, but I use it every night.
Yeah, that's the Quench and Restore mask,
Quench and Restore. So I dab it around my face, you sleep in it, and then you put the other products on top of it, rinse it off in the morning. And it's amazing. But he just showed me this thing with a woman putting it on one hand with the wrinkle or
the wrinkle and radiance remedy.
So this, a little bit on her at night, and the other one, nothing. We're going to post it on this thread. It's night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, one hand looks 75 and one looks 60 or 58. Mine looks 70. So I'm going to do that.
It doesn't look that bad.
I'm going to do it on both of my hands.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting product, but I think, you know, it's actually, so that's a good example of where the industry it's just a mess. I mean, it's an industry where they've sort of professionalized misleading people, right? It's all about instant transformations. It's that's the frustrating part, is people make stuff up and they set expectations that just aren't realistic, and then they sell kind of junk in a jar.
And people want a quick fix, so they buy it.
Yep.
At inflated prices, and they don't get the results that you get with this.
Yeah, and what ends up happening is it leads to big old skepticism, right? I was talking with a friend of mine who, she runs one of the larger multinational brands, and I was asking her how things were going. She said, I love this category of hope and dreams. And, it's like you're selling hope, but there are very, very few people that actually deliver the goods. And you're right, they want an instant, people would prefer an instant transformation. And when we can, we would like to do that. But, a lot of what you see on your skin just didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And, it's like working out. You kind of have to stick with it, and you've got to be doing the right things. And you can actually do great things with your skin, but it takes the right products and time.
That's exactly right, because I work out and I'm getting stronger and I can see my muscles more. And as I do this, I've been using it for a few years, but really religiously, I think for 2.
Yeah.
And I'm blown away by it. And every time I see myself in a photo, my face is like so sweet and glowing, and then my chest looks like I'm 87.
So we could do some before afters.
On my chest?
Yeah.
And my hands.
And your hands.
Because that's my old lady skin there.
Well, it's not old lady, but we could do some.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah. And then I need you to do something for all this stuff that's happening in this area. Can I slather this everywhere?
You can slather it everywhere.
But then I would have to ask for a lot more.
That's all right.
Product.
We'll cover you.
When I looked you up briefly, you're a California guy.
I am.
Born and raised where?
Here in Pasadena.
And you still live in Pasadena?
No,
you're in Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Cincinnati.
How'd you get to Cincinnati?
Well, it was sort of a long journey. It went through New York. I worked in Manhattan for a number of years, and then grad school in Chicago, and then I ended up working for a company in Cincinnati and stayed there because it was a good spot for the kids. Ohio. I'm from Kansas. Yeah,
and it was a great place to be raised.
Yeah.
But then I was ready to get up on out of there.
Yeah.
I did my time. I love it, and I love the Kansas City Chiefs, but I needed more.
Yeah.
I needed diversity and a little bit of wild sprinkled. Kansas City is just a super conservative, nice place.
Yeah. Well, and California is a wonderful place.
Yeah.
But we grew up in Pasadena, and we're now nested in Cincinnati.
I like that you said nested. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Set up your nest with your family. How many kids do you have?
5, so that we share in common.
Yes.
I don't think either of us got the Planned Parenthood discussion.
No, we did. Well, I actually had to work hard to have mine because I only carried one.
Yeah.
And then I grew my other embryos in other people's bodies.
Yeah. Well, ours just kept popping out.
Yeah. That's called just making love.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Or maybe not. Sometimes it is.
It was.
So you have 2 from your first and
Correct.
3 from your second?
Yeah. Yeah, and the good news is they all get along. I don't know that you can expect that. In fact, I think we were pretty lucky. And it's testimony to they're just good kids. I mean, they really...
You need to take a tiny bit of credit.
Oh.
Because I think if we do it in a loving way and set them up for success, then they can handle it more instead of, I hate them, I don't want to do this or that. But it is rough, isn't it, the transition? It
was hard,
done that.
Yeah. So, but I think, the oldest 2, Drake and Grace, their mom, Sarah, what was really super helpful is her number one priority was the same as mine, which is we just wanted these kids to do well.
Yeah.
And when it's not about you personally and it's about the kids, it's just a lot easier.
Yeah.
It makes decision making easier, and you don't get tied up in it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, divorce is interesting. So many people say they stayed together for the kids.
Yeah.
But I think that's a disservice if there's not love, because you're modeling a loveless marriage and you hope for them to have a lovely marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can feel that kind of anger and angst. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. I agree. And the older ones really look out for the younger ones.
Oh, are they here or in Ohio?
Everyone's, well, actually, that's not true anymore. So the oldest one now is working in Pittsburgh. And And then, so he graduated 2 years ago from Notre Dame. And then our second oldest graduated last year, and she's working in Chicago.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have smart kids?
Yeah, actually, they're good.
Mine are good looking.
Yeah. Our kids are in different kinds of smart, each of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are super interesting and intuitive and sensitive and empathetic.
Empathetic, yeah.
And but none of us were ever big education, school. I'm going to be number one and get the best test scores.
Yeah.
None of us, actually. Oh, except my one daughter. She's kind of the mom of the house, Audrey. She makes straight A's and keeps her twin brother in line and makes sure everything's taken care of and asks me where I am if I'm out too late.
Yeah. That's good to have one of those.
It's nice to have a mom in my house.
To take care of it.
It keeps me in line.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So I heard how you got into what you do, into kind of women's empowerment or upliftment or beauty or kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's a good way of phrasing it. So, I guess the reality is for the past 30 some years, I've been serving women. I mean, that's really been my primary customer. And,
what have you learned about women over those 30 years?
So it's really, my view, a lot, but not enough. And my mom is 94 years old.
Wow.
Right? She's a beautiful woman, smart. She's special, right? And of course, I've got two daughters, and my wife and an ex-wife. And so you get to see really the total arc of it through the eyes of people that are important to you and special. And, I think that it's when I started working, actually, there's this woman, Ann Kearney Cook. At some point, you should check her work out. But she's one of the few, which I think at the time, this was 7 years ago, she had run the only long-term panel of women and tracking them over time to assess how things would affect their self-esteem and their likelihood to have a baby when they didn't want to have a baby, to get on drugs, or other issues in life that are common. And one of the real insights in her work was it was important to have a really strong family network. It was important to feel like you were part of something bigger than yourself, whether that was a church or a sport team, it didn't matter. And it was also important that you had a core competency that was real. So you could tell someone that they're special, but people are pretty smart, right? And they see through and they look at their life and say, well, do I have anything I do really well? And so you asked about what have I learned? One of the things that I saw with our oldest daughter is when she would go to a birthday party, and people would say, oh, you did this great. When they talked about her and how well she did, it was more often in this context of, oh, you're so pretty, you're so kind. And then, next week I'd take my son, they were 8 and 10 years old at the time, to a birthday party, and they would talk about, how strong he was and how smart he was. And it pissed me off.
Yeah. Because
they're both strong. I mean, our oldest daughter she swam in college. She's incredible. I mean, for me, even, she's an inspiration and strength and handling adversity. And so I think that one of the things that I've learned, and I
love that you said your daughter's an inspiration to you.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And you said adversity. What's that?
Well,
do you feel comfortable talking about it or no?
Oh, sure. I mean, she broke her neck when she was in high school, and she had the same break as Christopher Reeve, only it was just a little bit shorter. It wasn't as deep into the bone, and she was a very competitive swimmer at the time, and I think that was hard. We were lucky; she's fine.
She can walk.
Yeah, and we're very lucky, right? We didn't even know at the time that it was broken, and then, but I think that was hard. She had a lot to overcome, and then, and not that her life is about swimming, but swimming is an important part of her life.
Also, when people find their thing, and that's where they feel strong and get their power and they get their exercise, and it's like a meditation almost. It's empowering to have that instantly gone.
Yeah.
They're like, who am I?
Right. And exactly. And then she, she competed in college, but she was never at the same level that she was when she was literally 5 years younger. And then in her junior year, in the same week, she basically pulverized a disc in her back. It kind of disappeared. And this can happen when you break your neck. Apparently, some number of years later, 5 years later, this will often happen, or it can happen. And at the same time, she discovered she had advanced stage Crohn's. And what I hadn't known at the time was...
This poor girl.
Well, yeah, actually...
She just got hit and hit and hit.
Yeah, and what I didn't know at the time was that, she was... Every month, she'd be on the floor a couple of days of the month in total pain, throwing up blood. And, yeah. So her
How horrible is that to watch all of these things with your baby?
Well, and I think it's a lack of control that makes it so hard.
Yes.
You love them,
Nothing
and
you can do.
You want to do something.
Just
and so,
comfort.
Yeah. So, but the thing about it for her is she realized that, if I dwell on the negative, if I talk about it isn't going to help anything. And actually I focus on it. So I'm just going to stay positive. So, you talk about people, they're half full, half empty. She's like she's like 1/4 full. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even in a difficult situation. And, so we've worked with her.
1/4 full. Wouldn't she be more full because she has a positive attitude?
Well, I'm saying even when it's really bad, when you've only got a 1/4 cup, she thinks about
still
a 1/4 cup full. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I see. So,
it's really powerful. And, with this startup, what we do is really wonderful. And we do a good job of, it's hard work though. And there are times when you put in a lot of hours and you wonder, gosh, is this worthwhile? But, I look at what she's gone through. She never complained. She just did what she needed to do, and she did it with strength and integrity.
And grace.
Yeah. Well, and her name is Grace.
Oh.
Right. And so she is an inspiration for me. And I think that, that's part of the other thing that I've learned. And this is not really a sort of gratuitous compliment, but I do think that women can be extraordinarily strong, and there's that power in her strength. And so this idea of femininity, feminine strength, was really born based out of this work for me that Anne Kearney Cook had pulled together. And so when we talk about skincare, it's really important that we don't want to really insult people, right? Unfortunately, we use the word because it's important from a website and internet search perspective, but anti-aging, it's kind of, you think about it, it's like, you're telling someone...
Not to be at peace with what is.
Yeah, and as you're getting old, and somehow that's a bad thing. So we, I think we work really hard to be empathetic.
Yeah.
And understand that, look, it's just about making the most of what you got and enjoying what you got and not letting it get in the way of it, right?
Yeah. And I think it's so sweet to talk to you like this because you have such a huge heart and you have such an awareness of what's important to you and an awareness of women that you spent so much time empowering, assisting, helping, guiding products for women. That's so beautiful. And you're surrounded by a ton of women.
Yeah, and good women.
Good women.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, because if you're a good man, you attract a good woman.
Well,
if you're kind of a jerk off, you attract a jerk off.
I've had my moments.
Yeah. I haven't. I'm kidding. So the biggest thing that you said from what I got from what you just said was with women is their strength.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think it is. And I think, though, the villain of that strength is actually also in my business, which is...
Pointing out the flaws so they come to look.
It's the external validation.
Yeah.
It's this somehow when Drake would go to these birthday parties and they'd roughhouse, he would be good because of things he did internally. He was smart, he was strong. Whereas when Grace would go to a party just a weekend later, she was pretty. So it was, it was all sort of externally, she had to please other people. And the good thing with her, she doesn't feel that.
Yeah. like when I hear feminism or fight for women or all this stuff, it doesn't resonate with me because I believe when you know who you are and you know why you're here, you are as powerful as any man. So any room I walk into, I don't even see gender. I own my space and I speak my mind.
Yeah.
And it's from my heart, and it's more powerful or as powerful as anyone else in the room. And I think that is liberation. I think that's when we can be equals, when we think we are equal. And I think I'm more than equal. So I own my space, and I speak my mind from my heart. So it's not like I'm busting in and being a gnarly ass. Sometimes I do that. But I think that's power.
Yeah. But actually, I think that's also true for men, too. I mean...
Yeah, for all of us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think that women...
It's just harder. And
I think that the thoughts that are implanted in our heads when we're young...
Totally.
Shape who we are as adults. And then we realize, well, I didn't know I had that limiting belief that I had to be something more to equal a man. No, you're equal with a man. Yeah. You have to show up in your power. And we both have the energy of male energy and female together. So beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so good for me to be strong and also put on a tutu for you.
Absolutely.
This is my celebration outfit that you're here.
And it's beautiful.
I mean, seriously, for me, I get like starstruck about people like a news reporter. So I watch the same news here. And there used to be a girl named Leslie Miller on ABC News, and she did field reporting. And I always watched her. That was my show. I don't watch a lot of television. And I went out to dinner, and she sat next to me. I was like, oh, my God, are you Leslie Miller from Channel 7? She's like, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, my God. I was more excited than seeing most celebrities.
Yeah.
And I feel that way a little bit with you, that the CEO of my favorite product is sitting in my guest house.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be too impressed, but I appreciate that.
How the hell did I get you here? What happened? Did I just ask?
Yeah, you sent an email.
And you said, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because then I Googled you a little bit, and I saw all the things that you're doing. Tell me about it, because I saw Febreze.
Yeah.
Which we use a lot because I have some stinky people in my house and 3 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the thumbnail is I've been lucky to be in some really... I've been in a lot of right places at right times, right? So I worked for Procter Gamble. It was a great experience, and I worked in laundry and fabric care for a while, and then there was this project. It was called MD Complete. Febreze, and at the time it was sort of a really unattractive stepchild. In fact, I had friends who said, just you shouldn't do that. It was just a concept. It was just a product. And it wasn't going to be big, but the technology was really interesting. It's a cyclodextrin, it's a cornstarch, but it's a really interesting technology, and the product worked. And so I joined the team, and over time we evolved the team. But it was a total failure in its first test market.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a total failure. And but we learned a lot.
What does that mean? You sent product and no one liked it?
Well, it meant that it was Phoenix, Arizona. We had this test market. We were selling through grocery stores, and we turned on TV advertising, and people just weren't buying it. So, I think based on that test, it looked like it would be about a $10 million business nationally. And for a company like P&G, that's just not big enough. So we had an incredible team, and what was great about the team was there wasn't a lot of ego, so people were
collaborating.
Yeah, and there was belief that this was a good product and it was worth figuring out a way to do it. And we ended up talking with some consumers, again, mostly women, who were avid users of the product, and we realized that they were thinking about the product bigger than we were. They were using it as a cleaning product, right, as something that was part of their everyday. Anyway, make a long story short, we made a bunch of changes, and we doubled the business almost every 3 to 5 months for 2 years.
What? 3 to 5 months?
Yeah, it was extraordinary.
What was the key thing you switched?
Well, there were a bunch of things. It was everything from first of all, not offending the
people,
consumers. Yeah. So the thing about your sense of smell is the only sense that is not processed by your cerebral cortex. It goes straight to your medulla. So you don't think. Like, in fact, if you think about the words of fragrance, they're all lifted from other languages or from other terms. And so we're very primal. So if I say, hey, Leigh, you're not looking good. How do you feel? You'd be like, oh, he's, concerned. But if I say, hey, Leigh, you don't smell good. How do you feel? Like,
screw you!
Yeah, it's just way too much. And so
Which is interesting because looking is what people put so much emphasis on. If somebody goes, you don't look good.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I'm just tired. But if they say you smell bad, I'd go,
that's primal. It's totally primal.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it's totally primal.
The reaction to the two.
Yeah, you feel it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so we learned that was not a good idea to tell them they had odors and we'd get rid of them. And then we learned that, we needed to figure out ways to integrate it more in their life. And then really we learned that it was a cleaning product. It's not getting rid of dirt, but it is getting rid of odors, and it's part of the cleaning process. And that whole arc was incredible, so that when we launched the product, it was a huge success. We were in 39% of U.S. households in our first year.
Wow.
39. Yeah, I think it was the biggest.
Yeah, because you guys are all over my house.
Well, yeah, and I think it was the biggest launch of any category-creating product in the history of at least P&G. So it was, yeah, it was good.
And what I'm hearing is that you are going in, even when people think it's not going to work, and you have belief, and the people have belief that it's going to be something, and you listen and learn. You listen to the people and tweak. I think that's such a huge key. Yeah. Instead of just going, all right, you guys, let's figure it out amongst us. No, listen to the consumers. I love that. I love that part.
Well, and you realize how much your bias influences how you see the world. So this product was developed, it was discovered by accident.
By who?
It was just an accident.
Accident.
Yeah, someone had been working with the technology. They were a smoker, and their wife had asked him, gosh, are you smoking less? Because, in fact, this technology he'd been working with for a totally different reason.
Yeah.
Was absorbing and ultimately oxidizing.
A byproduct was making things smell good.
Yeah, or at least not smell bad, right?
Yeah.
And so at any rate, the P&G, they own Tide, they own Bounce, they own Downy, and so we looked at it as, so this is great. This is for dry cleanable clothes. We know clothes, and this will make it easier and cheaper, and you can get rid of the odors, because our frame of reference was clothing.
Dry cleanable clothes?
Yeah. So like jackets and sweaters and things
that you have to dry clean, you can just squirt.
Yeah, you wouldn't launder, right? And so, but that was our frame of reference. That's how we saw the world. But when we saw how the product was being used, we realized our frame of reference was about this big, and their usage was much bigger, right? So you use it when we knew the moment you put it in the place where you keep all the bucket that you keep all your cleaning stuff in.
Yeah.
The moment it made in there, we won.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I use it not on my clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
On everything.
But it started on clothes.
Wow.
It was part of the fail.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
The fail, right?
Yeah, the big fail. Yeah, and there were people that wanted to shut it down, and So,
and the fail, I think, is kind of like this podcast is the mess.
Yeah, well, it was a big mess.
It's a big mess, and then you feel the pain of it.
Yeah.
And you grieve, and then you stand up and get to work.
Yeah.
And learn the lesson in the mess, and you guys listened and learned the lesson and brought it back to life.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So what's been messy in your life, young man?
Gosh, well, so you were kind enough to send that email saying, hey, we'd like to talk about a little bit of your mess and what you learned and how you use that knowledge for good. And of course, I went to my best sounding board, which is my wife.
I said before we started, I just want to talk about MD Complete because I love it so much. But remember, we got to touch on the mess. He's like, yeah, my wife gave me plenty of stuff to work with.
Her initial response, I sent the note that you sent to me, I sent it on to her, and I came home that night, it was late, and her initial response was, but Drake, you don't like talking about yourself. And she's right.
Yeah, I love that because you're kind of a humble guy.
Well, I don't, there are more interesting things to talk about, right? So all
I want to hear about now is your mess.
No, well, so yeah, her first reaction was that, and then her second reaction, she didn't articulate, but I'm sure was, oh crap, you're also not very filtered. I don't have a good filter.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I think that's why I like you so much.
But you sound filtered, because I would just throw out some F-bombs without remembering. Probably shouldn't. But you're kind of together.
Yeah, well.
Is it just for this podcast?
Just for you right now.
Well, I want you to stop it.
Well, okay. So that was her concern. That was her concern. And then she had a really good insight. She's like, well, what is it that connected you with Leigh? I mean, what's that connection? And, the reality is there's a lot of pebbles to I'm dyslexic and
I am too.
Yeah. So you had in one of your earlier podcasts, you talked about how a lot of what we deal with today was something that, the seed was planted when we were a kid. Right. And, I got a lot of seeds, those seeds at least. And so, being dyslexic certainly has had a huge impact. You would understand that. Right. I had parents, both of whom are very smart. My dad is, truly brilliant.
My dad was too. Genius IQ.
Yeah. And highly idiosyncratic, unique, but genius. And, impossible to live up to, right? And
I didn't want to live up to that. I tried to in college once. He was a surgeon, chief of staff.
Yeah.
And I did like a semester trying to take classes and party, and I knew I couldn't do both, so I just dropped the medical.
Well, I wanted to.
But you stayed in it?
Well, I couldn't. He's just special, and there was no way I was going to bridge that gap. But so that one, another pebble, and I think this startup we were talking about. Honestly, one of the big pebbles that worries me, preoccupies me, is the passion and commitment to a startup has to be balanced with the love and commitment to your family. To be a good dad, to be a good spouse, to be a good son. But it's hard because, these startups are not easy. There's a lot I clean toilets on Saturday mornings.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's what we do. But, it's a lean startup because we really want everything focused on the technology. That's where we've invested all our money.
That's why every time I go, give me money, sponsor me. I want to be a part of your thing. I want you to be a part of mine. You're like, well, we just hired Marie Hausman and we're doing a new thing and and I'm like, well, still, we need to make a pool for me. So that's just something we have to work into the balance of your pebbles.
Work in some money. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
Definitely.
Over lunch, maybe. So.
We're having lunch after. Got a whole nother hour with you.
But that's certainly a pebble. But I think the pebble, though, that actually connects me to you, was growing up with really pretty bad acne. And it's not that you had acne. It was what brought... No, did you?
Yeah, I had used Accutane. Mine was so bad.
Do you know that kids who have acne tend to grow up to be more involved and take better care of their skin when they're adults?
No, I did not know that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so you can totally relate to this. Maybe you can. I don't know. So, mine wasn't constant. It would come and go, but it was pretty constant, or it was pretty common rather. And, it was a challenge. I don't know about you, but for me, it actually got in the way of me engaging with people because I was preoccupied. I'd walk into a room.
Yeah.
My acne would precede me.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I would talk with people, I'd look at their eyes because I just
want to see if they're looking at your pimples.
I was hoping that if I looked at their eyes, they'd look back and not look at my face.
Did you have like big whiteheads everywhere?
Oh, I had welts and whiteheads and red, and plus I'm pigment challenged.
Oh.
So like for me,
rosacea kind of stuff?
Well, no, it was so part of acne is inflammation, right? In fact, it's an inflammatory disease. And so, I'd be all,
pocked up.
Yeah, it was terrible. And
that's embarrassing. Like even, not for you, but just...
It is.
Especially if you're navigating teenage years. Oh. And it's the time to start maybe putting your arm around someone making out and you got pimples everywhere.
Oh, I was the worst date ever. No, because what would happen is...
You're just staring at her eyes the whole time?
No, I didn't even get to the table. So I would call you up on a Thursday night and say, hey, I'm sorry, I got this new assignment. I can't go out tomorrow night.
But Drake, you did that last week.
Yes, exactly. And then I thought I was a big jerk. And, the other thing is my acne, I still can break out. I'm 55. But it was for real through my 40s.
Why didn't even anyone tell you about Accutane? I know it's hardcore and it makes your skin dry and possibly your hair fall out. But after you do it for 6 months, you don't have a pimple again.
Yeah. And, it's controversial and it's extraordinary. And,
back in the day, they didn't really have a lot of facts. I had a pill.
I had tetracycline and erythromycin.
Oh, you had
two pills. Yeah.
Antibiotics.
Yeah. But I remember coming home from college and my oldest brother, George, and his wife, Liz, were getting married. It was like Thanksgiving. And I remember thinking that I ruined the wedding. They had this no, but it's true.
That's so sweet that our minds interpret things in such a way it's just so hurtful to ourselves.
Well, but it was kind of true because they had this fantastic photographer, Billy Youngblood, and he was taking all these great pictures, and it's a big deal getting married, and I ruined all the pictures because I looked I looked really bad. And
Trey.
Yeah, it was terrible, and I just felt so bad.
But do you still feel that way?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Now you look back a little bit and go, oh my gosh, you guys, look how bad my zits were, and have a laugh.
Yeah, I can't. Well, actually, it is a little sensitive. I'm not sure I laugh about it so much. But I just feel bad because he had such a good photographer, and it would have, Anyway, the pictures without me were so much better.
Let's redo the pictures and air touch your face.
Yeah, that is.
And put him back in his book.
That'd be the one time I would totally endorse Photoshop.
For your pimples.
But
why is that still sensitive for you?
Oh, I just felt like,
because it triggers the soft spot of being embarrassed?
Part of it was embarrassed, but I just didn't want to ruin it for him or her. I wanted them to have nice pictures. I hid a lot of the pictures from my mom. I mean, I didn't throw them away, but I put them. She had this dresser of all these pictures were, and I kind of tucked them away below everything so that she wouldn't put them out on the counter. But it's stuff like that for sure.
That scars you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
And it would always so stress can trigger breakouts, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think we've got a much better sense of why that is and what you can do to help, but. So inevitably you break out exactly when you didn't want to.
Yeah. It's like my dad told me there's two different kinds of sweats glands. Yeah. There's two different. And one is to cool your body and then the one that comes out when you're nervous is the one that smells.
Yeah.
But the one that cools your body, it doesn't smell. Yeah. So here you are nervous and you smell. And then you get your Febreze and squirt it under your arms.
I'm not going with I smelled. I think I had a good aftershave. I was definitely on
It was just your pimple face.
It was a pimple, yeah. But so anyway, but the point of all that is
that explains a little bit your sensitivity to not wanting to offend women.
Yeah.
And being in skincare products.
Well, that's the bridge, isn't it?
Yes.
It's and it kind of dawned on me. I was working with some beauty consultants, and it really is the bridge. It's why. So, do you know that a woman, when she hits the age of 40, from the age of 40 to 50, will visibly age at twice the rate than any other time in her life?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because the hormone?
Totally, yeah. So we think about perimenopause as that period when you stop skipping periods, but the reality is the hormone swings precede that, right? And so over that 10-year period, the surface of your skin, the epidermis, will shrink about in half. So you get crepier skin. Below, you've got the dermis, which is kind of where you get a lot of your plump and firmness. You could lose a third of that. Your sebaceous glands, and growing up with acne, you think of oil as being the enemy. The truth is, actually, one of the ways of getting vitamins from your belly to your skin is through the oil in your sebaceous glands. Well, what happens is you could lose up to half of them could shrivel up during this age period.
Your sebaceous glands?
Yeah, and it's why you get dry skin. It's not the only reason, but it is a reason why when we work with patients and we work with clients, and they'll come in and say, gosh, my skin is just getting so much drier. Well, there's part of the reason, because your hormones have changed and swinging, and all of a sudden you're just not producing the kind of moisture that you did in the past. And I think that, the big lesson for me, and I don't know if this was your experience, but if this were just 20 years ago and I had big welts on my face,
I would stare in your eyeballs.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I never, and did you ever do the thing, should I be close or far away? Because if I'm close, they won't see the total landscape of it. But if I'm far,
Far away seems safer.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But sometimes.
Not anymore. Now I like close because your skin looks great.
Well, it's nice of you to say. But the thing, you have this dialogue and you're thinking about their reactions relative to you. Like it's all about you and you're not actually engaging with people.
Yes.
It's terrible. And, there were,
it's hard to engage with someone when you feel ugly or you feel something's on your face that's like a monster to you. And to try and let that thought go away so you can be present, it can be really challenging if you don't know how to come into the present moment.
Yeah, completely.
Then most people are 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are negative, and most of them were the same thoughts as yesterday.
Yeah.
So this reel's going, and you're talking to someone, but your reel's going, and you can't fully engage when your reel's going.
And it's about you, and it really shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's clear to me now that if I can abstract myself from the situation, and it's not, I'm just not that important, and whatever we're talking about doesn't have to link back to me. What you do, what you say isn't a product of who I am or what I do and say. So it gives you much more, it's easier.
Yeah.
And so I think that the kind of, for me, part of it is just, let's take something off the table. Let's be happy with what you got, enjoy what you got. The truth is that we did some research long ago. If a woman smiles, that'll have a greater impact than anything we can do with her skin.
Yeah.
In terms of how old she's perceived, how beautiful she's perceived. But aside from that, we can make a difference. We can help people feel comfortable. And, if they want to look great, that's great. But at least let's not have them be thinking about it or concerned.
I quoted something. I make up numbers because I can't remember. So what I made up in my Facebook Live saying you were coming on today was that MD Complete beat out 3 laser treatments over a period of, and I just made up a number, 6 months?
It was 12 weeks, 12 weeks.
That's not 6 months.
Yeah, it's 3 months.
That's 3 months.
Yeah.
So this product beat out a laser. So somebody went in and spent a lot of ass money on a laser, and then they rubbed your products on for an affordable amount, and it beat it.
Yeah.
That's what excites me about it.
Well, and it's clinically proven. It's a clean clinical. It wasn't manipulated.
No, it's for real.
It was published in a medical journal.
And it's hard when you guys are for real and you're doing the hard work of getting the right product to the women who need it.
Yeah.
And there's people glossing over with big ass money saying other stuff going that way.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting, just the simplicity of what you do and how hard you work and your compassion and your love and working for women for so long. It shouldn't get lost on a shelf by somebody who has better packaging or puts bullshit. It's so interesting because who regulates that?
Well, yeah, I had a meeting with one of the most important women
besides me.
Well, in skincare retail. So she runs one of the largest skincare operations in the United States. I can't say.
Why?
Because she just flat out said, look, it's nice that your product is good. It's nice that your product's effective, maybe better than anything out there, but that's not what's really important. And I thought, oh gosh, this is exactly why people are so skeptical, because we've kind of allowed ourselves to be there. That's, so.
Real quick, Ben, my Facebook Live went off. Will you just take a peek at it? And you keep talking.
Yeah.
I just want him to look at it.
Yeah. So, do you remember, were you a baseball fan?
I was a baseball fan just for the Kansas City Royals when George Brett played.
All right. Do you remember Oral Hershiser? So Oral Hershiser was a pitcher for the Dodgers.
Okay.
Right? Local pitcher. And he had this incredible ERA during one of the World Series. And I think it was an LA Times writer had asked him, so how do you handle all the pressure? You're on the mound, you've got millions of people watching you, and it's you. I mean, like, you can win or lose this game with one pitch. You can win or lose this, right? And this is the most important game of the season, of the team's season, potentially of your career. And you nailed it. How did you do that? And to paraphrase what he said, because he said it, I'm sure, in a much better, more intelligent way, he said, I used to think about throwing strikes. I want to throw a strike. I want to throw a strike. And he said, but then I learned that if I really focus on what are the really important things that are required to throw a strike, I know I need to hold the ball a certain way. I need a certain rotation. If I just focus on all those little things, then I'm much more likely to throw a strike.
Yeah, instead of thinking, I need to throw a strike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's what you're doing.
Yeah, trying to. So I have another friend who he races he races Porsches, right? And I had shared that analogy with him. He said, "Oh yeah, Drake, it's the same in racing cars." He said, if all you want to do is drive fast, you want to go faster, you'll end up in the wall. But there's apparently a ball or pivot point in the car. And he said, if you think about that pivot point and really you think about my goal is to get as much friction between my tires and the pavement, then I'll go faster. But if I think about going faster first.
That reminds me, I just signed up to do, there's this E-Women Network, and Sandra Yancey runs it. And she just started coaching people, like groups of 8 privately, and I signed up for it. And I was so excited. I was like, what's the start date? And I was emailing going, we're going to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. When can I talk to her? I got to. And all these things, this barrage, because I was so fired up. Yeah. It's called soar. And I'm like, I'm soaring. Let's go. I've got my way. I'm jumping. But then our first call was the other day. And she said, I know a lot of you are chomping at the bit. I know you have all these things you want to do. I know. She goes, but we're going to slow down. We're going to be really clear why you're doing what you're doing. We're going to set up a really strong foundation, and then we can use that strong foundation to soar from. Yeah. So slow down. And I was like, that's so good for me, because I'm always like, I want to get it done. Yeah. But really hearing you talk about the product and taking the time and learning and putting in the work, even when huge things are, making billions. Yeah. What did the woman say to you?
It doesn't really matter that you're better, that it's so effective. We just need to be able to sell it.
So they're just into the fast, make money.
She said, give me a good claim. Give me a good claim. It doesn't, it doesn't even have to be technically important. But give me. So this product, the Quench and Restore, it's been really 10 years. Too. Yeah, it's actually an essential oil.
Why did you just open it and sniff it?
Because I like fragrance. It's terrible.
My daughter sniffs everything.
Yeah. At least I didn't taste it, but it's been, that's 10 years. That took 10 years to develop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Because Pat from your office, who I love, she sent it to me. She's like, hey, here's our new product. And I was like, all right. I just popped it open and put it on. I didn't think, it's like I did the other day with my kids when we were eating strawberries. Yeah. They all start sitting down and getting their grubby fingers in there. I was like, everyone stop. Yeah. We're going to take a breath. Yeah. I want you to pick your strawberry up, set it, only that on your plate. Yeah. And look at it. Yeah. Do you know how many hands it took to bring it to our plate? From the guys who grew it, the people who dropped the seeds, who watered it, the men who picked it for hours for barely any money. And then it gets washed and brought here, and they bring it there, and then we go get it. Let's be in gratitude for every single hand that touched this. And that's what, right now, how you're talking about this, I just like, great, slapped it on without even thinking, being mindful of, it took you 10 years to get this. I mean, that's putting loving care into your product. I think if it doesn't go fast, it will become everything you dream of if you keep putting this loving care into it. Yeah. Because that's the kind of stuff I want on my body, not fast, quick, easy bullshit that's packaged beautifully. Or yours is actually, I like how yours is packaged as well. But things that are made with love. That's all I want to be involved with. That's all I want to have on my body or in my body. No. Yeah. But everything. I want to represent that it's whole and it's healthy and it's from love. Yeah. So, gosh damn it, I have a new appreciation for this mask that I slapped all over my face.
Well, it's good stuff. We actually, our origins were on the prescriptive side of the business. So we started out by developing. We were working for patients who had really damaged skin. So chemotherapy patients, radiation therapy patients. There's a segment of acneic and diabetics. What was common to all those patient groups was that their skin was really damaged. It was broken. It was compromised. And so as a result, they couldn't tolerate common topical drugs. They'd be too irritating. And so we developed a technology that improved the absorption of the material, the ingredients, and also signaled to the skin in a way that basically made the skin feel more comfortable with this material. And the consequence is it allows us to use significant, and so we took that technology, we brought it into the skincare that you see today, and it allows us to use much, much higher levels of ingredients than we could have ever gotten away with without this delivery system. And
I love that you worked with cancer patients and people who were already hurting to find a way for them to feel better.
Yeah, so actually one of the things once we get through this current crunch, I want to go back to some of that original work. So we have a wound healing technology. One of the folks that works for us, her daughter had a heart defect. She was born with a heart defect, Mila, and they had to do open heart surgery when she was just, like 6 months old. It was crazy. And then they had to go back in again and do it. And so Kaylee, her mom, was really worried about the scar having this big zipper. So we took one of our original products for the cancer program and modified it in a way to help the healing process and, importantly, kind of minimize the potential for scars. And the results were extraordinary. The doctor looked at her and said, "What have you been doing?" And so,
wow.
Yeah. So our goal is that once we get through this crunch period, we want to go back to some of the original work we were doing. And, I have two wonderful sister-in-laws who have, breast cancer is an issue for both of them, right? And so there are a lot of surgeries involved. And I think, today this is a bigger issue. People are having prophylactic surgery to remove breasts because they know that they're headed down a really dangerous territory. And so I think one of the things that we can do is actually help there, and again, minimize the appearance of these scars, improve the healing process. So,
oh my gosh, I just had a friend who had a double mastectomy and she's 71.
Yeah.
And she's beautiful, but she feels so deformed.
Yeah.
And she gets these bras with like little implant things you can put in, and they hurt.
Yeah.
And she said she can't even look. She so hates how it looks.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for you to get to that, so I can get that to her.
Yeah.
So she can start healing her mind too. As you apply it, you allow your mind to know something better is coming, which lets your body make something better coming.
Yeah. And it's very nutrient rich. Really high levels of these very special types of vitamin E that are hard to get.
That's in here.
That's in there, yeah. So that has some fruit seed extracts, so along with vitamin C and retinol.
This is liquid gold.
Yeah, no,
that's what I call it, and I slather it on my face and neck.
Yeah. Do you know you were the author of our? We had a Facebook campaign called Liquid Gold, and I think it came from you.
Because I felt like that, but you used to give me this in a little squirt bottle with no label on it.
Yeah.
Right when you just started it.
That's right.
Because I was like, oh, what's this? Oh my gosh, I love it. And then all of a sudden it got fancier and fancier at looking. Yeah. And that color changed a little bit.
Yeah. So the color, you're getting all sorts of sort of carotenoids in there. Those are really powerful antioxidants that give fruits and vegetables their colors. There's a slight green quality to it.
Yeah, this one's more green than the other one.
Yeah. So that's another nutrient in there that's really good for your skin.
You know what is so interesting is you buy a product, literally like the strawberry. Like I had no idea the work that you've been through. I had no idea the heart that you put into it. I have no idea how you've worked with patients who are suffering to help them feel better, to learn how to incorporate that. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, it makes the job more fun. I mean, it's just rewarding.
Because it's not just it's a passion. It's your heart, and that's when people die a slow death. We're just trying to make money.
Yeah,
and they're not. It's not here. then you get to the point, why the hell am I on the planet? What am I supposed to do here? And so when you're combining your work with your passion and your 30 years of looking out for women, it's powerful.
Well, I'm lucky, and I've got a great partner, Brian, who's Dr. Brian Zelikson.
Yeah. So Brian Zelikson.
Yeah.
I tried to tag him on this post. I could not find him on Facebook.
No, he's should be there somewhere. He runs a number of clinics out of. So he's a Mayo Clinic doc, trained at the Mayo Clinic, and then he has a number of practices in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he's really extraordinary. I mean, he's actually quite special. So I remember talking to one of the...
You have a lot of special people in your life.
Well, I'm, again, kind of lucky.
Yeah.
But he really is. So I was talking with another doctor, and a really nice guy, and a very, very critical kind of guy, and rarely shares any praise for anything. But he pulled me aside and said, you are working with the best of the best. I said, what do you mean? He said, Brian, he is the guy. I mean, he
Cutting
is
edge,
the smartest.
Innovative, smart.
Yeah, and what's great about Brian is he's able to look at, oncology, gastrology, and make a connection to skincare.
Oncology means cancer, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Cancer and
gastrology. Yeah. So and skincare, and so it's it's the ability to make these unexpected connections and really see the totality of everything that makes him so good. And you see that in our products. I mean, these products do a lot more than we tell you, because they really are. It's this whole idea of complete. It's for real. It's about how do you take more complete care of the complete system. And if I care for the total system, yes, you're going to see the promises that we made in terms of tone and texture improvements, but it's going to be more substantive. It's going to last longer because of the way we're doing it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So are we going to take today before and after pictures of my hands?
I think we should.
Because I don't want to just do it on one hand and do it that way, because I want both hands to age younger
because
together.
Then you can do this. And, well, of course, it's better for us. Yeah, we'll take the pictures. We'll get someone who's actually good at taking pictures.
Okay.
And, yeah, for sure.
And we're having lunch after. And is there anything you would like to say, because we're winding down? Do you want to say anything or have a link or I'll put your link on this thread, but anything you want them to check out or...
Yeah, I guess what I would ask is, if at all you're interested, just go to our website, and even better, call our 1-800. We've got 2 women who are our client care specialists, and they'll sit down and they'll work out a plan with you. The key is we want to keep it simple, right? And so I'd say, even if you don't use MD Complete, here's some words of advice.
No, don't say that. Just use it.
All right. Well, words are advice. Less is more. You want to keep your skincare regimen as simple as possible, right? More products, more problems, worse results. Your skin's a sponge. It can only absorb so much material. So you want to make sure whatever you're using is the best you can get. 2, use highly concentrated products. 3, build your regimen around a core retinoid, prescriptive, or our Wrinkle and Radiance Remedy. And just gradually add some targeted treatments, but keep it simple.
4, drink a lot of water, and 5, love yourself.
Yeah, and
then you're going to be a beautiful, beautiful ass person.
Eat your colorful vegetables. That actually, you see that. You will see it. We can talk about that later, but you see it in your skin. And call Pat or Ashley. They're there to help you.
Pat is amazing. I know her the most.
Yeah, they're both good.
So my workshop is October 18 through 20 here in Los Angeles. It's 2.5 days, and Drake has been so gracious to give me 3 products for each of my swag bags. Mm-hmm. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So you're going to give me 300 items. Did you know that added up? So if you come to my thing, you're going to get 3 of this. I think it's all liquid gold, even though that one looks gold, because it is simple, and my skin has never looked better.
It does look good.
Now I got to get the rest of my body somehow matching my face.
We got you.
You do?
Yeah.
You're just going to dump me in a tub every day?
Take a bath.
So I'll put the link here for his website. And I'll put the link here to sign up for my workshop to come get some free of his website. And I'm going to put a little discount on this post.
That's right.
So when you order, you get a little bit of a discount. So I feel really special.
Yeah, it's a 20% discount.
Wow, that's big ass too.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy I get to go break bread with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I like to do a final hug. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it.
And let's do it.
Whoop. Oh, I may knock that.
After you, we're 50. We're like, as we get out. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, thank you.
You're a delight.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.